Welcome to podcast 165. Let's finish our discussion about Field Engineer Boot Camp.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. I might sound just a little bit tired. I just finished the second half of Field Engineer Boot Camp, the one that we just did. And oh my goodness, it was absolutely over the top fantastic. I'm also a little bit tired. Well, like I said, we spend 15, 17-hour days doing these camps, and we're just on point the whole time, and it's fantastic. And so there were two. So real quick, let me just say a couple things here. I really make sure that on a daily basis we have good researched content. And it is just a little bit exhausting, but when I pray about it, what comes to me is that I need to continue doing these podcasts on a daily basis so that people can either keep up or grocery shop the topics and do it, cover the topics that they want exactly. So last week on Thursday and Friday, I had Reno, the producer, put together some comments and some feedback from the first 2 days of boot camp and some messages that I recorded on the way early in the morning. And we were really hoping that would give just a little bit of a glimpse of the excitement. And then we gave you some samples yesterday of boot camp. And again, hoping that was kind of fun. There was a neat little speech by a really good friend of mine, and everybody really amping up for the third day. The fourth day is really kind of tough, and so that was a nice preview. And now that we're done with graduation, I want to go through just the overview of the entire thing briefly if I can. So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about day 1, 2, 3, and 4. And day one really is about building the team. So we cover some leadership concepts. We get them oriented. We really dive into what we call, a fears elimination session. It's really a dancing with fears session so that we can leverage our strengths and our goals and our focus and not listen to that voice in our head that really frustrates us and encourages us to think about fear all the time. And then we cover some detailed focused training about quality control, about, dig permits and excavation permits, and some of the other orientation that's needed for the rest of the camp. And then we go into this team building where we do repelling and where we actually go through some pretty strenuous exercises and we build the team together. And then we close it out with a reflection at the end of the day, which is remarkable. And we get them into morning routine sessions, meditation, and at night we actually have a neat little camp song. We didn't put it on here on the audio for you in any of these little podcasts, but we have a really neat camp song, and we close it out with some personal development, some leader press conferences at night, and some fantastic content. Day 2, that's when it really gets fun. So all of these attendees by that time have learned AutoCAD, they've learned Revit, they've read the Field Engineering Methods Manual, they've gone through 2 technical trainings where they are taught layout. They've also done Revit training in person. So that's a guided Revit training and a guided AutoCAD training. They've read 3 additional books and done just a whole bunch of personality profiles. So it's very, very intense. Preparation for boot camp is no joke. So the next day, on day 2, we give them 2 or 3 survey points, a set of drawings, and we challenge them that by the end of day 4, they have to build those 2 footings, and we do that accurately. I'm even just getting back excited just explaining this right now. And so they go through, and these plans are garbage. The civil drawings have problems with the center line of the roads, which offset to the property lines, which offset to the grid lines. And it takes a lot of figuring things out, a lot of math, a lot of converting bearings into azimuths, a lot of formulas where we're figuring out the inverse, a lot of formulas where we're figuring out the latitude and departure. And these are workers, foremen, college graduates. These are normal, everyday people doing complicated engineering math. And it's pretty fantastic what they do by the time they get there. And their team rallies together. They use AutoCAD, they begin their lift drawing, and they're really searching for two things. What is the relationship of the two footings to the grid lines, and what is the relationship of the grid lines to a coordinate system, and how can they get out there and lay it out? And so that is probably the most stressful day. And, they are mentally taxed beyond belief. It's absolutely fantastic from an assessment standpoint and pushing them past the limit to where they have to start to ask questions and really rely on their team. So it's a fantastic day. Then we do another reflection that morning. On day 2, we also do the opening songs, and we make sure that we do the opening morning meditation around a campfire. The other thing is the environment of boot camp is fantastic. We do everything we can. We have Christmas lights, Christmas decorations, proximity, obviously all the COVID-19 precautions, but the environment is so welcoming and warm and cohesive. It's just over the top. Then day three, that's when they have to get out there and really grind and go to work. So they have to find their primary control points, traverse their primary control, analyze that system, best fit their points within AutoCAD, and go out there and start, once that's done, go out there and lay out their footing, start digging, and set up 2 intersecting baselines. And they do that by doing direct and reverse and forward and back shots and really making sure that everything that they do for the control is precise, while the team is planning for materials and building anchor bolt templates and tying rebar and cutting rebar and doing all of that. And so it's really a mad rush, but the team has to start to gel at this point from a communication standpoint. And the teams at this point that do not communicate frequently and often start to fail and fall behind. This is when they have trouble with prism constants. This is when they have trouble with total stations. This is when they have trouble with layout. I mean, it's a fantastic experience to show anybody the difficulty of going from primary control to actually laying out building components. And it gives the connected sequence of events, and I told him that, and I've told you guys before, whether you like public school or not, and I'm not going to weigh in on that. What we learn in public school systems, our compulsory schooling systems, is the disconnection of information. We have times tables 1 hour, history another hour, language another hour, this another hour, and that another hour. And we never get excited about anything and connect the dots on any of it because it's all the disconnection of subjects. But at boot camp, we learn the connection of things. And I said that just the other day. How do we understand the connection from primary control to secondary control? How do we understand the connection from AutoCAD to Revit, from Revit to lift drawings from your grid lines so that you can actually go out there and build what you need to do? We teach the connection of everything. And it's a fantastic day. Day 3 is when they actually get out there and they're running mini X's and they've got their bags on and they're building, and it just becomes a fantastic experience. And they're really under the gun. And this is something fun. Whether it's day 3 or day 4, they have to place footings. And when we have every boot camp, it never fails. They're about an hour and a half to 2 hours behind when the concrete's coming, when they ordered it. And although we wouldn't do that in real life, meaning we wouldn't rush people like that, it provides an experience to show what rushing can do, how they perform under stress, the importance of double checking, and it allows them to see what can happen if you rush. And so day 3 and day 4, they start prepping. They have to do a port check. They have to do their double checks. Some teams will stick to their guns and do it exactly the way they need to. Other teams will stop communicating and they'll break down. And what they learn really quickly is that then they get into a mad rush and it's not accurate. It's not what it needed to be. And the work product isn't very good. And so inevitably you'll come up with one to 4 or 1 to 6 teams that get it done right, they place, and then there's 1 or 2 teams that everyone else has to go and help. And that creates a moment for the boot campers to really understand the value of being helped, of being a wider team, but also the value of looking at the example of other teams and doing their due diligence and doing their double checks. So there's this pressure building, there's this pressure, and then they place the concrete, and then everyone's about shot. And the stress of everybody doing this, and you're thinking 2 footings is not that big a deal, but when you're in a time crunch and you filled out your scrum boards to schedule and you know exactly what you have to do and you only have 4 days where you have to build the team, do all the calcs, do the traversing, all the lift drawings, all the AutoCAD. It's a pretty intense actual engineering. Like they have to go engineer these things, and they've earned their title, in my opinion. It's a great experience. And the foremen come away with appreciations of what field engineers and survey have to do. The college graduates come away with an appreciation of what the craft have to do, and we really connect them together. And it forms a really wonderful unity and a bond. And once they finish placing their concrete, we take them up for some further leadership instruction, and then we start to scan a different group of people come and scan the footings back to their primary control. And what's neat is the next day when they come in for graduation, not only do we know the winning team, not only do we have personal assessments, not only do we have all of the wrap-ups and awards and prizes. Ooh, we do a total station competition too. It's so fun. But we are actually able to show the laser scan overlay of their footings and anchor bolts and say, hey, okay, you're 0.01 off in this direction, you're 0.015 off, 0.038 off in this direction, and here's how you did with the elevation. And what it does is it creates a moment for two things. One, how hard is it to actually get things within tolerance from point A to point Z, through all of your systems? That's one thing. But the other thing is how the quality of the end product is directly associated with the functioning of the team and the communication of the team. And so the teams that finished on time, that were high functioning, that communicated well, have very accurate sights. And it's pretty fantastic to watch. And then the ones that didn't have that will have a footing off 1'6" or 6 inches in this direction, or an elevation bust. And it's really, really, really difficult. But they leave knowing what they need to do to take massive action and to be better. And so I just can't say enough about the experience and what they gain, because at the end of the day, the performing teams, they performed because they double checked. And they double checked because they had a plan, and they had a plan because they communicated, and they communicated because they built the team first. And they built the team first because everybody knew each other, and they respected themselves, and they did their own personal training. And so everything follows the 5 dysfunctions of a team Patrick Lencioni model, right? Get to know each other, build trust, have healthy conflict, set goals together, hold each other accountable, and perform. And at the end of camp, they realize that, but they also realize a couple of other things. And we realize this in graduation when they have to create 6 goals, which create a ticket. And those 6 goals are 2 are work, 1 family, 1 personal, and then the other 2 are the attendee's choice. And when they leave camp, they've learned how to be a team. They've learned how to strengthen themselves and live a remarkable life. They've set goals for the next 6 months, which will be game-changing and allow them to take massive action. And they have really set up a framework of thinking that gets rid of the victim mentality, ignores the fear or neutralizes the fear, and allows them to go forward and fail forward with their strengths. And so my message with this is that, sometimes I'm hesitant to mention FE Bootcamp because I don't want people to think I'm selling something. But at the end of the day, I would caution any of us, whether you're a worker or a foreman or whatever position you're in, to bypass the field engineering position. I would caution you against that. There are people in this industry that want to create trainings where you just go from foreman to super or college graduate to super. I just don't think that's ever going to work. Oh, let me say this so I don't get in trouble. I've never seen that work. And I've talked to you guys about this before, that if you're a worker and you are able to work your way into the field engineering program, you will be forced to learn lift drawings. You will be forced to learn technology. You will be forced to learn a personal organization system. You will be forced to communicate. You will be forced to figure things out. And then once you have that builder experience, then you can go on and be a leader and an organizer in the superintendent position. Same thing with a foreman. Same thing with a college graduate. If you go straight in and become a PE, you don't have that builder time. If you go straight past field engineer and go into superintendent, you're just pointing fingers. You don't have that builder time. And I would just really caution us in our industry to get out of that. The field engineering position, with its quality, with its safety management, with its layout and control, and its focus on coordinate systems and geography, its lift drawings with detailing and communication and technology, the personal organization systems, and the responsibility, the mantle of needing to communicate throughout the project are absolutely necessary for the success of that builder. Because, and you guys might not like it if I say this, but I'm here to help. I'm not here to necessarily make friends. If you are a superintendent, you are a leader, and you are an organizer, and you are a planner. You are not a builder. You are not getting building experience unless you've already had that builder experience as a foreman or a carpenter or a field engineer, and then you bring that into your superintendent position. You're not a builder yet. Superintendent position in and of itself is a leadership and organization and planning role. The builder parts come when you're a field engineer and when you're detailing out lift drawings, when you're becoming an expert at reading plans, when you're piecing things together, when you're writing RFIs, when you're reviewing submittals, when you're communicating in the field, when you're surveying like an actual surveyor, when you're doing construction layout and control, when you're actually laying out embeds, when you're getting all of these things put together, all of this engineering put together, and you are actually in the details. That is the builder experience. And if you skip that experience to go straight to superintendent, then you're going straight to the leader, organizing, planning experience and not bringing that builder experience with you. And what we need is superintendents that are planners and organizers and leaders and builders together from experience. And so, yes, I grew up at Hensel Phelps. Yes, Hensel Phelps is like the field engineering company in the United States. Yes, they're fantastic about it. Yes, I apprenticed under Wes Crawford. Yes, I'm a little bit brainwashed. But I've never seen a project be as successful as it can be without field engineers, and I've never seen builders be as successful as they can be without being a field engineer for a period of time. And so I say that so that our industry can do two things. One, we need to get field engineers paid for partly in our general conditions and then in the cost of work. And in companies, we need to consider implementing and establishing a field engineering position with the right training. And I want to say one more thing. Some people think, oh, I don't need field engineers for layout. I don't need field engineers for lift drawings. I don't need field engineers for this. I'm going to surprise everybody with something. The only reason we have field engineers is to train future superintendents. The only reason our industry needs field engineers temporarily, not the lifelong field engineers. We need them for layout. We need survey for layout. We love that. The only reason we in the construction industry need field engineers is to make and design and create and structure and format and brainwash and love and encourage and develop superintendents. That's the only reason. That's the only reason we do lift drawings. We actually don't need those done. But we do need those builders to understand drawing, detailing, putting things together, visualizing things in their mind, and knowing that building specifically. And so what I would encourage all of us to do is to really embrace field engineering. It is the key to construction. It is the key to us being better, at least in the management roles. And I just wanted to close up this little series of podcasts where we have some snippets from boot camp and just give you some of my thoughts. I wish I would have had, and we weren't able to because, let me just close with this. We gave you some snippets from day 3. Day 4, we didn't. These field engineers go through so much of an emotional change that there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of tears, there's a lot of really in-depth stories, there's a lot of sharing. We don't record day 4 or day 5 when we do the reflection because it's so impactful that I wouldn't want to irreverence the information. And I will say that, if you've ever seen The Greatest Showman, there's one song in there that says, "From Now On." That's one of the last songs we sing at boot camp. And there's not a dry eye in the room. And some of the people that go to boot camp say, this is the single most impactful event in my entire life. This changed my entire life. I'm going to be a better husband, a better father, a better worker, a better me. And I'm going to go win in this world, and it becomes a trigger. It becomes a drug for excellence. It becomes an invitation. It becomes a gap from where they are and where they want to be. It becomes that invitation to go do better, expect more, and live a remarkable life. And so that's why we don't do that. And so I've been a little bit self-conscious. I don't want the audience to be upset with me for taking those couple of days and just giving you some snippets and then me doing this podcast today. I really would ask you to be patient with me with that. But what I want to do is just get you a little bit more familiar with it. So if you want a field engineer boot camp, you want help from me setting it up, you want to attend one, that you have that opportunity. And if you're an owner, and if you're a business leader, or if you are training builders in your organization, I want you to strongly consider this position, because it's an absolute game changer. It is the Rosetta Stone, for lack of a better way to say it, between the builders of old and to what we're training our builders to be today, and not losing the back to basics technologies and skills that we need our people to have. So it was fantastic. It's game changing. You can hear me right now. I'm not even low energy. My voice is exhausted. My body's exhausted. I am spent. And so I'm out here in my recording studio at 9:15 at night, and I'm doing this because I'm going to keep my promise to do a podcast every day. But man, I tell you what, the Field Engineer Bootcamp almost got me there, and it's absolutely remarkable. And so this is my closing thoughts on this year's boot camp before the end of the year. And I really hope that I'm with you next year in a boot camp one-on-one, and we can help in some way, shape, or form kickstart your life, your career together. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.